Well, hey there, happy day 84 of the BP Challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajama Grandma. BP in this instance for me stands for blood pressure, a blood pressure challenge. I'm doing a health-related challenge, a 90-day challenge to reduce my blood pressure because my blood pressure, as I'm sipping on my coffee, which is theoretically a blood pressure raiser, but in some of us it reduces our blood pressure because we have weird bodies and we're all different. So coffee is one of the things that is believed to trigger high blood pressure, but in me, for some reason, it relaxes and calms me, matches my blood type, and so coffee is awesome for me. So you will see me often drinking coffee in cute mugs as big as my face, because woof, woof, puppy dogs are cute. Weird, feeling definitely strange today. Today, day 84, we're going to talk about systemization, process systems and process systemization. What the heck does that even mean? It sounds big and it sounds fancy, but it's really not. It's just taking our process and making sure that it's a system and that it's systematically dealt with and handled. Now, does this task, this process that we're looking at, fit into another system? Can it go hand in hand with something that we're already doing in our life or in our business or in whatever the bigger picture is, or maybe the smaller picture? But does it fit in somewhere else? Does it make sense to add it and make it part of a bigger system, a bigger ecosystem? To me, checking my blood pressure is just part of my overall health system, the system of taking care of myself, right? We've got big areas in our life we need to take care of. We need to take care of our health. We need to take care of our, and that's all of our health, mental, emotional, spiritual, contribution, all the aspects, physical well-being, all the aspects of our health. So to me, my blood pressure is just one little tiny piece of my overall health personal ecosystem. So yes, for me, this particular process does fit into another system that I need to pay attention to, that I'm going to pay attention to. Now, I think I've shared my story that, in the past, I didn't always pay attention to my health. Like for a lot of decades, I just ignored it to my detriment, right? Detriment and death. So it's important that I pay attention to my health now. And the blood pressure being added to this, it's just one more little thing. To eat right, have to move, have to take care of myself, have to pay attention to what I put in my body with respect to eating, drinking, nutrition, medications, everything. And so checking my blood pressure is actually a good step of just monitoring the impact of all those other things I'm doing in the area of health. So it's kind of a win-win. Now, the other thing that we want to keep in mind about the systemizing this is, I'm cheating and looking at my notes. One of the best ways to make sure that we create a system around this is by scheduling it. Scheduling what frequency at which we're actually going to perform the process or the task, or the process has to be done. So for example, probably, once it's under control, once a week is plenty to monitor my blood pressure. But for this period of time, once a day is the right frequency. So we want to schedule it. We want to schedule it preferably for the same time every day, so that as we're looking at the results over time, it makes more sense. If I check my blood pressure every morning as soon as I wake up, I'm going to have different results than if I check my blood pressure every day at noon, or every night at 5 o'clock, or every night right before I go to bed. That chart's going to look maybe similar, but it could look totally different, because maybe noontime I'm in a really high stress time and my blood pressure is going up. Every time I go to the heart doctor, guess what? My blood pressure goes up on a subconscious level. I don't consciously want it to go up. I actually consciously want it to go down, but just the act of going to the cardiologist increases my blood pressure. So I don't like getting my blood pressure checked when I go to the cardiologist, but it's going to happen every time. So I need to actually, just thought of this, I need to think of strategic ways to reduce my blood pressure before I go to the cardiologist for my checkups. That's gonna have to go on to my follow-up list. So we want to schedule it. The other thing that I think is important to do with a process is track and document in some way, shape, or form what you've done and that you're doing it. Meaning you got to have the process written down, but then document at least on that process somewhere when you actually perform it. So if I schedule it for once a week, I might create a worksheet or something in my phone, or find an app or something where I can actually, even if it's just a check mark and with the date or the date and time that I actually performed this task. Now, this might be just carryover from my quality leadership days in corporate America, where the belief is if it's not documented, it didn't happen. You know, if a bear growls in the woods, does anybody hear it? If there's nobody around to hear it, does it really make a sound? You know, that whole circle jerk logical question, does it or not? And some people say no, it doesn't make a sound if there's no one there to hear it. Now I still say it makes a sound just because there's no one there to hear it. The sound still happened. You know, if lightning's going and thunder are happening, lightning is a light thing. If you've got thunder and no one hears it, did the thunder make a sound? Of course it did. The sound was still there. It's just no one heard it. Big deal. I love those logical explanations that go round and round and round and don't really seem very logical at all. All theoretical, right? So today, your challenge is to look at the process that you're analyzing and you're putting into place. Ask yourself, is it part of a system? Is it part of a larger system? Or is it a supporting process to a larger system, which mine, measure my blood pressure is. And then schedule it. When do you need to do it? And actually schedule it. Write it down. Whatever we write down, whatever we schedule gets paid attention to, right? What we measure, we manage. What we manage, we control. What we control matters. So schedule it for out, let's commit to scheduling it out for the next, after the 90-day challenge, for the next 60 days. Let's just say, hey, in January and February, we're going to schedule whatever this process is. Just make that your thing for scheduling. And then decide how you're going to acknowledge or document that. Maybe on your calendar, you're going to do it once a week, every Friday morning, as soon as you get up, 4 a.m., me at 4, but whatever time for you. At 7 a.m., I'm going to do this process, or whatever makes sense for whatever the process is for you. And then schedule it between now and for the next 2 months. And I guarantee that after the next 2 months, guess what? It'll already be a habit, so you won't have to even really worry about scheduling it anymore. We only schedule things. I only schedule things until they become so ingrained in such a habit that I don't have to schedule them anymore. I used to schedule my morning routine. I mean, it was written on my schedule every day. Now, it's just automatic. I don't even have to think about my morning routine because I'm going to do it no matter what. I can't even think in this whole year if I have missed my morning routine. I don't think so. Even when I travel, I follow my same morning routine. So once it becomes a habit to you that you're not going to break, then you don't really need to schedule anymore. But for right now, your assignment, your challenge is to, one, is your process part of another system or a bigger system or a supporting thing to another system? Schedule it and then figure out how you're going to document or just verify that you've done it on that frequency for the next 2 months. That's it. Have an awesome day. If you have any questions, if you need help with this, figuring out how to systematize it, hit me up in the comments below or Voxer me or just ask, message me, direct message me, and we'll make sure that you get it straightened out and that you understand. Don't want you to, especially as we're coming to the end, get hung up on any one day's activity. That's why it's one thing a day. That's why it's small little increments. So that's it. Process systemization. If you have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow.